Want to hear a secret almost no one admits? You're trapped. There aren't iron bars, but walls built every time you chose to please invisible audiences. Every yes you said against your own will. Every step you held back for fear of messing up. Every fake laugh to drown out the urge to scream. Each one added bricks to your personal prison. That tightness in your chest isn't just passing anxiety. It's the heaviness of living for applause that never comes. Performing for an audience that didn't even buy tickets. And here's the toughest part. No one asked you to make that sacrifice. No voice demanded you trade authenticity for acceptance. You did it yourself, thinking that's what love costs. But the key to the door is also in your hands. You chained your true self to the easy applause. With each nod of approval, you gave away a piece of who you really are. Now, when you look inward, you only hear echoes. Where does your real desire end and the shape carved by fear begin? They sold you the idea that if you kept everything under control, the world would stay in place. They promised you a flawless scene if every little detail was watched closely. But the uncomfortable, rare truth is that total control doesn't exist. It's just a trick that keeps you busy, away from what truly matters. The tighter you grip the reins, the quicker they slip away, taking your peace along with them. So each day becomes a rehearsal for a future that never arrives. So tell me, how much longer will these chains be worth the price of your freedom? Have you ever noticed that quiet space that lingers, even when your life seems full? That emptiness happens because what we call ours often comes wrapped up in other people's expectations. Achievements, relationships, even our thoughts pass through invisible filters, always seeking approval. Every nod of validation pushes us a bit further from that balanced spot where our true selves live, a place we once knew clearly but now feels muffled. Back in his 16th century tower, Michel de Montaigne realized something we still struggle to accept. Letting go doesn't mean ignoring the world. It means freeing ourselves from the chains that try to shape our actions. He understood we're not hostages of circumstances, but prisoners to the urge of controlling things beyond our reach. Criticism, judgment, the need to fit in everywhere. As long as we keep following that impulse, we keep building internal walls and losing the ease and authenticity that truly makes life worth living. What if what you call security is actually the chain keeping your steps small? Try loosening that rope for a moment, the one promising protection but only tightening around you. There's a paradox at play. The tighter you grip life, the more it slips through your fingers. Those who chase approval sacrifice their own voice. Those who lock the door against change eventually get pushed through it when they least expect. Nothing out there follows our commands. Realizing this isn't a defeat, it's your first act of courage. The chaos of existence demands one gesture, simple in theory but scary in practice: letting go. Let go of the fear of disappointing others. Let go of the anxiety of failing. Let go of the persona you built to soften others' judgment. Think for a second how your life would look if other people's opinions stopped weighing you down. Without that constant worry, who would show up? What choices would suddenly make sense? That person you just imagined, free from judgment, is your authentic self. But there's a tricky part here. Dropping those chains is scary because deep down, you're not sure what's left without them. What if your identity got lost in other people's expectations? It's this fear of discovering only an empty reflection that keeps so many people stuck in place. Centuries ago, Montaigne summed it up perfectly. When you let go of what you're not, you finally start seeing clearly who you really are. And it's right there in that honest clarity that your journey truly starts to take off. What seems to be holding you back right now is actually the doorway to the life you're seeking. Fear comes up, but the answer isn't found in ready-made formulas or mystical promises. It shows up right here, in your own experiences, when you choose to face reality and say clearly, I don't depend on external applause, I don't need to control everything. I'm not going to play roles that aren't mine. So let me ask you straight up. How long will you keep gripping the wheel of a car that never fully listens? Every day of fake control pushes your true self further away. This is the starting point of an uncomfortable journey, maybe unwanted yet urgent. Will you continue living in the apparent safety of a cage you built yourself? Or will you take a leap that, though full of uncertainty, brings the pulse of life back? This is where the philosophy of letting go kicks in. An invitation to clear out old habits and make room for a freedom that reshapes who you are. The path is unsettling, provocative, and challenging. But between moving forward despite butterflies in your stomach or standing still, only one of those options keeps your heart beating in sync with who you really want to be. They said the secret to life is setting goals and reaching them. But what if many of those goals were never really yours? Years of effort might have been spent climbing steps built by someone else, and when you finally reach the top, the view doesn't look familiar. It's like staring at a distorted reflection of someone else's expectations. The word success sounds grand but vague. Impressive degrees, sought-after jobs, well-connected friends. The rulebook gets followed perfectly. Yet there are nights when a stubborn emptiness nudges your conscience, reminding you that something essential got left behind. It was during a voluntary retreat, far from the noise of the world, that Montaigne realized something crucial. True success isn't found in status, possessions, or applause, but in being aligned with who we really are. Finding this alignment means removing the mask, dropping the act, and facing your identity without filters. Then comes the question that echoes loudly, demanding honesty. Who are you when the stage lights go out? No rush to answer. Maybe it's time to reevaluate each step before you keep climbing. You've gotten so used to the role you play that the effort it takes to keep up this facade has become invisible. Still, there's always a breaking point. Your mind won't accept the act forever. Sooner or later, it'll rip off the mask and expose the exhaustion of living to meet others' expectations. Stress, anxiety, and that persistent emptiness that keeps coming back. Lots of people prefer the predictability of familiar discomfort to jumping into the uncertainty of showing who they truly are. They settle for crumbs of joy as long as the stage remains intact. But what about you? Will you risk finding your own voice or stay numb within your routine? Routine, by the way, is a powerful sedative. It keeps you busy, entertained, asleep. But it comes at a steep cost. The price is losing your inner freedom. Freedom in this case isn't about doing anything whenever you feel like it. It's about daring to stay true to yourself, even if that means breaking patterns and sometimes disappointing the people you love. Have you ever thought that staying true to yourself might cost you everything you've built so far? If something requires pretending to keep going, maybe it was never really yours. Genuine relationships, projects that truly matter, and wins that count. They all pass the authenticity test without a scratch. It's on that honest ground that you separate what truly matters from what just takes up space. Funny thing is, the risk is smaller than you think, and the reward is bigger than you imagine. But the first step is jumping, stepping out of your comfort zone, accepting a life that's not completely under your control, but one that finally carries your own signature. Letting go doesn't mean abandoning what you love. It means realizing that only in full freedom is there room to love and create with integrity. Everything you cling to anxiously ends up holding you back. Many people live in fear of loss because they've never tested what happens afterward. They cling to relationships, jobs, and ready-made identities, forgetting that an authentic life starts when you let go of what doesn't reflect who you really are. So what now? Will you stay on autopilot or dare to leave security behind, facing the uncertainty where you'll discover your genuine self, far from control, applause, and fear? It was up there from the tower where Montaigne used to retreat that he started his journey inward. Today, that same path lies right in front of you. Will you take the first step, or just stay in the stands watching your own story unfold? Telling stories isn't just about sharing facts or stirring up feelings. It's also a way of seeing ourselves clearly. Every time we tell a story, we face who we are, or who we'd like to be, reflected back in every plot line. On this stage made of words, characters and conflicts act like mirrors, revealing hidden desires and buried fears. Fiction becomes our life's laboratory. It lets us explore possibilities without the heavy consequences, providing comfort when life feels uncertain, and courage to push unseen boundaries. Between scenes, we're free to leave behind the ordinary and see the world from angles we rarely try out in real life. How much do the stories we tell ourselves shape every choice we make each day? Our internal narrative acts like a lens. It filters experiences and points us toward the path we follow. The power of storytelling on this deeply personal level can reshape both the present and the future through the words we choose to define who we are. Changing this script can transform the ending. Many people stay stuck in narratives they inherited, failures, limitations, imposed roles that they accept as unchangeable truths. Taking control of your own biography is a creatively rebellious act. It means writing yourself as the active main character, reinterpreting your past and opening brand new paths toward tomorrow. And it's not just about doing things differently. It's also about how others see you. A well-crafted story about who we believe we are can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. It shapes relationships, attracts opportunities, and influences how the world responds, almost as if our personal script is acted out collectively. Consciously refining this storyline stops being just an exercise in reflection and becomes a strategy for life. When we tell the story of who we are, the line rarely runs straight. Compelling stories have dark alleys, sudden turns, and nagging doubts. The real strength of a narrative lies exactly in those gaps that keep the audience waiting, in those uncomfortable moments when truth suddenly pops out without warning. With every word spoken, awkward encounter, or prolonged silence, we add whole paragraphs to the plot. We're constantly editing a manuscript that's always being revised. Each decision scratches out and rewrites earlier pages. We're never just supporting characters in someone else's script. We're authors at work, and final drafts simply don't exist. A chapter that seemed tragic yesterday might turn out to be tomorrow's perfect turning point. And that's when the magic of human experience kicks in. Scars become badges, mistakes turn into plot twists, and silences become dramatic pauses. The audience's interest lives in this active process of rewriting, in the quiet promise that the next page could completely change everything that came before. What if living was just filling blank pages without knowing the genre each line would become? That's exactly what makes uncertainty so great. We don't have to pick between laughter, tears, or epic stories. We get to try them all. Stories that are still unfolding don't need a curtain call. They prefer the spark that encourages every reader to grab their own pen. If that spark just lit up for you, hit subscribe and click the bell to follow the next twist in this living plot. Show that you're co-writing along. Drop "I'm rewriting my story" in the comments. The next episode might not have definite answers, but I promise questions that turn into pages. For now, let's leave the book open. The next paragraph is already waiting in the wings.